From the Flying T Studio at Roxo Media House, this is Frogs Today, featuring the Director of Creative Media for TCU Football, Jason Andrews, Frog quarterback legend, Patrick Batteaux, and our headliner, TCU Football Offensive Coordinator, Garrett Riley. And now, here's your host, the voice of the Frogs, Brian Estridge.
Welcome into episode 6 of Frogs Today. I'm Brian Estridge, and a big thank you. For the last 2 episodes, have seen our highest number of folks checking it out. Thanks to our friend LaDainian Tomlinson. Probably had a lot to do with that. We hope to continue to grow this. We want you to be involved. We want you to logging in on frogstoday.com every day. Checking out that Lizard Lounge. You'll see a little login tab at the top right of your screen. Hop in on that. That's where our guys are. That's where Jeff Wilson is, Jamie Plunkett, Melissa Treewasser. You got the Lupton Drinking Club. I'm going to hop in there. Everybody who's part of the crew will be in there. We want you to join us in conversation all week long because, folks, we just got a lot of good things happening around TCU, don't we? I mean, you think about where beach volleyball is right now and the success that they are having as they get ready now for the NCAA tournament. You've got success happening there. You got both tennis teams doing well. And, of course, the spring game ramping things up on Friday night for Sonny Dykes' program. How about the breaking news that he announced earlier in the week that the quarterback for the Horned Frogs is on campus right now? We're going to talk to Jeff Wilson about that a little bit later on in the show. Speaking of quarterbacks, Garrett Riley has been charged with getting those guys ready come fall. He's the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach and, of course, the younger brother of Lincoln Riley. He's now here with Coach Sonny Dykes, and he's going to join us as our headliner in just a few minutes. We've also got a little flashback for you. We're going to meet up with another Horned Frog who had great success as a player here, and now getting it done in the community as well. I think you're going to enjoy this conversation. And Jason Andrews has been behind the modification, we're going to call it, of what's happening as far as social media is concerned and engagement, creative content around TCU football. We're going to talk with him about what the objective is and what they've accomplished so far. I think that's going to be a fun conversation. But we start the day with everything going on around the world of TCU athletics. So we head off to the newsroom, and that's where Maggie Hale is. Maggie, how are you?
Thanks, Brian. And what a week for the Frogs. Starting us out hot, the TCU baseball team getting back into the rankings, standing at 21 after a 15-1 run rule over UT Arlington. The team had a shutout going out up until the 6th inning. This huge win comes after a sweep over Texas Tech over the weekend. Tech, now ranked 9th, stood at 4th when the Frogs swept them for the first time in school history. A switch in the lineup proving to be beneficial to the Frogs as freshman Hunter Toplansky moved to second base, getting his first career hit, and fifth-year Gray Rogers playing left field, a position he played in high school. The boys traveled up to Stillwater yesterday as they look to take on number 3 Oklahoma State in a 3-game series starting tonight. Also this past weekend was the men's tennis team showing the Oklahoma Sooners what TCU athletics is all about. A 5-2 win over the Sooners in Norman, securing the regular season Big 12 championship after going undefeated in conference play. The TCU Horned Frogs are the nation's #1 best tennis team. This is TCU's first 5-0 conference season since the 2017 season. The team now looks ahead to hosting the Big 12 championship this weekend at home. And the #2 ranked beach volleyball team finishes an undefeated season at home after a sweep over number 16 Pepperdine and Houston Baptist, going 5-0. The Frogs maintained their perfect record of 13-0, 28 wins, not losing at home since March of 2020. Coming up in 2 weeks, the Frogs will travel to Huntsville, Alabama for the Coastal Collegiate Sports Association Conference Championship. Other teams in the rundown for this weekend include the men's and women's track and field team down in Waco, as well as the women's tennis team in the Big 12 Championship in Hockley, Texas. Good luck to all the Frogs this upcoming weekend. Now let's go ahead and send it back to Brian over in the studio.
Welcome back into Frogs Today for this edition. A little bit later on, Garrett Riley, the offensive coordinator, is going to stop by. But now, hopefully you've noticed a little bit of a change as far as TCU football is concerned when it comes to social media and how they're reaching out to folks. Well, the guy behind that is joining us right now with his story. Jason Andrews joins us right now. Jason, come on out, my man.
How you doing?
How are you?
Fantastic.
Great to see you. Thanks for hopping on here, man.
Appreciate it.
You know, when I emailed you and said, hey, Jason, we want to have you on the show, you said, hey, I think you got the wrong number. and there's a reason behind this, because I love what you've been able to accomplish in a short period of time. Creative content, I guess, is your responsibility. And you've sort of changed the approach to TCU football very, very quickly, haven't you?
Well, yeah, that's kind of been the goal, and the idea, and it starts with Coach Dykes, is he gives us all access to pretty much anything, and that's a lot of trust there. But it's been great because we want to pull back the curtain and kind of show our fans, show everyone what's going on with the football program, and and that's the way it should be, in my opinion. And that's kind of what we're trying to do, is give everybody a better access to the players, get to know their personalities, get to know the coaches' personalities a little bit more, and sort of show that and showcase that to the fans.
You know, the one thing that you've been able to accomplish too is it feels to me like you've hit every demographic too. That there is a little something for everyone. Every age group of TCU fan will find it on social media somewhere.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't make everybody happy all the time, right? So you got to do a little bit of stuff here and there to switch it up. But yeah, we try to make it sort of our approach mainly has been to shift, which has been, if a recruit doesn't like it and a recruit doesn't think it's going to be cool or whatever, then why are we doing it? Because to us, it's kind of, you get the recruits, you get the good players, then you start winning, and it's sort of the egg before the chicken
right.
before the egg thing.
Yeah.
So for us, it's kind of a new age look at stuff, and we're trying to, like I said, open up the access to it a little bit.
We've admired from afar your work at SMU because you came with Coach Dykes, and that's not where you started. I want to rewind a little bit, because back in the day, you went to the University of North Carolina, and that's where you got your start. And they're known for doing things in a first class manner, a little more conservative than a lot of places, but everything they do is first class, and I guess that's where you sort of set your roots on to get going.
Absolutely, I learned from the best there. Ken Clear was my first boss. I learned from Woody Durham, Jones Angel.
Yep.
The classics from there. But yeah, I got my start in live production, actually. We did all the video boards, in-game entertainment for football, basketball, women's basketball. They even had field hockey video boards. So we were doing stuff back in the day, and then we talked a little bit earlier, did some signing day live stuff, ESPN3, when that was just getting started. So I cut my teeth with live production, and I've sort of moved on since. I did a little stint as a director of operations for a football team.
Right.
Just got to learn how football works from the inside out, and then missed being creative and missed that side of things. And was lucky enough to get brought on by Coach Dykes at SMU, and then follow him over to TCU.
By the way, that little stint that he's talking about was at Arkansas State, which has the best pregame spread for media of any place in the country.
It's not bad. They know how to
really
eat there, that's for sure.
Yeah,
they definitely gained some weight while I was there.
They do a good job of it. So now here at TCU, it seems to me, you talked about that, hey, if a recruit doesn't like it, we're not going to do it, or it just doesn't work. I think that has been the thing that has shined the brightest light so far, is the importance of recruiting to this program. Really, the program is stacked on that, isn't it? The 365, 24/7, this staff, these players, everyone, it's all about recruiting.
Absolutely. I mean, we put in a ton of time, not just us specifically, but the whole staff, the support staff, the coaches. We're always talking recruiting. Recruiting really never stops. You're always doing something, whether it's from our standpoint, whether you're making graphics and sending out graphics once a week, or you're doing video stuff for them. I mean, it's a constant 365 deal, which is great, and that's part of it. But you've got to get the good players to be able to win, and then win brings success, which brings more and more things, which is what we all want, and we all want that.
You started your own business in Dallas and then went to work for SMU, and then came here to TCU. In that stretch right there, your business, SMU, TCU. Give us an example of something you're the most proud of. Is there one piece? Is there one project that you worked on?
I worked on quite a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
One of the cooler things we did at SMU that jumps out at me while we were there, we went and did a kids camp in Africa, which was kind of wild. We flew out on a Tuesday, came back on a Saturday. But while we were there, we got to meet some incredible people while we were there, and sort of shed light on Nigeria and what was going on there. And it was really interesting. I got to take photo, video, and do all kinds of fun stuff there, and people just loved the camera. They loved being around it. And it was very interesting, kind of remind you how nice we have it here and how nice things are here. And it was a really, really cool experience.
Yeah, and by the way, he's not just talking about a Polaroid. I see you got all different kinds of cameras. You got a drone in one hand. Things are going everywhere. I mean, you got access to all the good toys.
Yeah, and that's been great. Jeremiah Donati and Mike Singfield, they've been great in terms of helping us get what we need. I know there was a big shift in, like we talked about, social media and creative content, and to get that stuff, you need new equipment. You need new cameras, lenses, toys, drones, all that good stuff. So yeah, we're trying to build that our stock of toys and whatnot. But it's a lot of fun, and it's fun when you can get out there and have that support.
I'm going to put an example up on the screen. If you tell me, is there a series, a video shoot that you did? Is there a social media thing already here at TCU that kind of stands out to you?
I mean, honestly, flying in the helicopter with Coach Dykes when he came over,
yeah,
that was pretty cool.
That was fun.
But no, I think the most engagement we've had has been the post-practice hard-hitting questions, which are silly.
Yeah.
But the first one was are there more doors or doors or wheels? What do you think? More doors or wheels in the world? Put you on the spot.
I'm going to go wheels.
I think it's wheels too, because you got the micro machine cars and Legos. Think about everything in here. Look how many
trains
wheels are
have
around.
They do,
They do, absolutely.
Yeah.
So anyway, no, those have been fun just because the players get to, again, show their personality. We get to pull back that curtain a little bit and give our fans access to our players.
All right, pull back the curtain real quick for us. Jason, what are you into outside of football? And I know football takes a lot of time.
It does take a lot of time. I try to stay in shape, which I do that by cycling. I follow along professional cycling, which is kind of fun. And then honestly, I love traveling. I love getting out into different countries, Mexico, Thailand. I did 3 weeks in Thailand by myself, backpacking, just stuff like that. Getting out, experiencing new cultures, different experiences is a lot of fun.
Lance Armstrong or Greg LeMond?
Lance Armstrong, even though he's kind of a jerk sometimes.
No, that's okay. Hey, he's a winner.
He's Lance 2.0. He's trying to change his.
It's the new Lance, right?
Exactly.
Hey, thank you for coming by.
Absolutely.
Really
Thanks for having me.
Glad you're here, man.
Yeah,
really
I belong on the other side of the camera. But,
no.
It's a one-time deal.
No, I love it, man. That's Jason Andrews joining us here. We got a lot more still to come here on Frogs Today, including a little bit later on, Garrett Riley, the offensive coordinator for this TCU football team. He's going to join us as Frogs Today continues here in a moment.
Say hello to the water of tomorrow. Richard's Rainwater. Richard's Rainwater is 100% rain, refreshing, renewable, and the only ingredient we use in our water. Why rain? Because everyone deserves access to clean water, and rain is a 100% renewable resource available everywhere. Drink the rain. Save the planet. Shop now at richardsrainwater.com.
The Flying T Club provides the everyday TCU fan and alum the ability to specifically support TCU student-athletes. Flying T Club offers 3 levels of memberships. The Flying T Club is a nonprofit organization supporting the brand development of TCU student-athletes through a series of unique event-based networking opportunities, which are exclusive to our members. These events provide a great social engagement tool for our members and student-athletes alike. Follow them on Instagram at Flying T Club, or online at flyingtclub.com.
Hi, this is longtime Fort Worth Star-Telegram journalist Mac Engel, and I'm inviting you to join me for the Engel Angle podcast bi-monthly on Wednesdays with guests from the world of sports, entertainment, and general interest. I'll bring you my unique perspective and an entertaining spin to every episode. Listen anywhere you get your podcasts or at engelangle.com. That's ENGELANGLE.com. The Engel Angle is a Roxo Media House production.
Hey, if you're looking for a fun place to host a company party or large gathering, look no further than TCU Baseball. They invite you to reserve your spot in Home Run Alley. Home Run Alley, the new and improved hospitality area at Lupton Stadium that includes 25 tickets and a covered tent with rental purchase. Additional catering options are available to purchase. Lock in your spot at Frog Alley this season by calling 817-257-3764 or visit gofrogs.com. Welcome back into the Flying T Club studios as Frogs Today continues. And every so often we'll do a little Where Are They Now? And we thought we would today have a little conversation, flashback to 1998. That Sun Bowl championship for the Horned Frogs and the guy who led them to victory. Would you welcome the quarterback, Patrick Mateau, joins us right now. Patrick, how are you, man?
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Good to see you again.
Good to see you, too.
You look like
Always
you can
good
still
to-
play.
Oh, I try to keep in shape.
You know?
I try to.
I think it
you know?
works.
Yeah, but I don't think I can.
Well, USC may have something to say, but, they still haven't seen the option like you ran it. You think back to that game, and that was the difference maker, was running the option against a team that really had trouble recognizing it, didn't it? I mean, did you get that feeling during the game?
Yes, we knew that in the Pac-12, they didn't see the option a lot. They threw the ball a lot in that conference, and they really didn't play any teams that ran the option. So I knew we would give them a surprise, and we executed.
It was a storybook finish to an amazing year that I wonder at what point during that season you knew it was special. Was there a moment in time where you thought, you know what, we've got a little something going on here?
Yes, during the whole year, we had some ups and downs that year, and I think it was one of the last games against UTEP. We had a really good game. I think we lost that game, but we fought pretty hard, and we came together. It was some things. I think we beat SMU, and we finished off the season pretty well, and we knew we had something to build on, with the new coaching staff, and then came the bowl game, which we didn't really realize that we were going to be in.
I was going to say the regular season. If you think back, folks, the regular season comes to an end. Did they tell you guys, "Hey, great season, good luck, we'll see you down the road"?
They did. They did.
Okay.
We put up our shoulder pads, put up all football equipment.
Yeah.
And we thought we were done.
Right.
And we were going to get into off-season workouts. And then we had a team meeting, and Coach Francione called us and said, "What do y'all think about playing in the Sun Bowl?"
Yeah. And you said, "I'm in."
And we said we're in.
Yeah.
And I remember him saying, two things to tell y'all. What do y'all think about playing in the Sun Bowl? And let me tell you who your opponent is.
Right.
It's USC.
Yeah. Here's the good news, and here's the other news, right?
Here's the other
Yeah.
news.
Patrick Mateau, when you think about your career, was there a point in your tenure here at TCU where you thought, "Yeah, I'm not going to be a quarterback. I'm gonna be something else, and I got to accept it"?
Yes. I started out as a receiver, and when Francione and his staff came, he wanted me to try out for quarterback.
Right.
And I was open to it. Initially, I was starting at receiver, and initially I was like, I'm just getting my feet wet.
Yeah.
I'm starting at receiver.
Because you had to convert to receiver.
'Cause I converted.
Because in high school you were a quarterback.
Correct.
So you had to kind of convert to receiver. Then they got to
Right.
convert you back to quarterback.
Back to quarterback.
Right. And then was there ever some doubt after you had converted back that you might be going back to receiver?
It was. I remember the first couple of practices because I wasn't throwing the ball.
Right.
I wasn't used to it. I just, my mechanics were off. And, it was like, maybe receiver is the best for me.
Yeah.
And, one of the other quarterbacks can take it over. And I think Coach Fran said that, they were thinking about doing that. But he said that I was getting better, a little bit better every day. And I was giving it my all. It wasn't something that I was upset about. I said, I'll do whatever's best for the team.
Yeah. And I think maybe it was more about your leadership qualities as well that had to come into play, didn't it? I mean, in those conversations with Fran, did he mention that at all?
Yeah, he did mention the leadership qualities and, the ability to grasp the offense, be able to, just think about different things in the heat of the moment at that time. And so that was kind of one of his things that he did mention because he recruited me out of high school at New Mexico. And I was a receiver then. And I was only a receiver for 1 year, my senior year in high school.
Right.
So I didn't have a lot of experience playing quarterback.
Yeah.
But it ended up working out. I'm glad it happened. And it was great.
What you benefited from, too, is you had two pretty good running backs. Basil Mitchell and LaDainian Tomlinson. I mean, that helps, doesn't it?
Oh, that helps. That helps. That takes a lot of pressure off of me to have two NFL caliber running backs.
Yeah.
And they were great. I mean,
and by the way, an offensive line that was pretty big, too.
Offensive line was really great, too.
Yeah.
Yes, they were top notch.
Those were fun times. Give me some sense of your relationship with Coach Fran and what that was like and maybe takeaways from that that you still live with today.
Yes, Coach Fran came in and he just changed our culture. He changed the vision. He came in and he had goals, and I remember a pyramid that he had that it said goals. It said conference championship, win a bowl game, and he just changed our whole culture, changed our whole mindset, and that's something that, I live with today as far as, change is inevitable. It's going to come. How you handle the change, how you adapt to it is kind of, what's going to be the most important thing. And hard work. He challenged us every day. We worked really, really hard. I remember, being in practice and like saying, there's no way we're going to practice in 20 degrees, but we did,
Yeah.
and so, you just have to overcome it. And so that's something that, applies to life still to this day.
How did your relationship change post football, or did it at all? I mean, in your contact with him, and not that you're in contact with him every week, but how did that relationship change once you were off the field?
Yeah, you were able to talk to him about life, and things. He shared a lot of things, during his tenure here that at TCU that, he said that he had to do to get us to where he wanted to be, which was, ended up being great and being successful. But still talk to him. We laugh about different things about, what happened and old things that happened either in practice or in the games. And I like to ask him different things of, about, well, what were you thinking here? Or what did you do here? And things like that. So it's still a great relationship every time I see him. And, we talk about the old days and reminisce and have fun.
One more old days question. Back to the Sun Bowl. Do you remember USC's reaction as you started to kind of pull away a little bit? Was there any talking that went on the field? And do you remember earlier, was there any conversation between the two teams that you look back on now and you can smile about?
Yes. Well, they were talking a little bit during the game, and then it was something being a little bit conceited about, they shouldn't even be in that game.
Right.
They are kind of too good for this game. They're going to run us over. And, and it was kind of cocky and conceited. But then after the game, when we beat them, there was no conversation. They ran off the field.
Yeah, they were pretty quick to do so, right? Yeah,
True.
I remember that because they had a big-time linebacker, Chris Claiborne, right? Am I right about that?
That's true.
Who was a big-time player. But the Frogs got the best of him that day.
We did. That offensive line did a great job.
Yeah.
I mean, they neutralized him. They were on him every play, hitting him, chopping his legs, and everything like that. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he won the Buckets Award that year. First-round draft pick, and he was not a factor in the game.
So that experience at TCU propels you to life after football. Give me some sense of that preparation and how your tenure here, and I'm not talking about just necessarily on the football field, your academic experience, everything, kind of prepared you for a career now in banking that's been very successful.
Yeah, it's really prepared. You look at the things that I endured here at TCU and having to go to class, taking 8 hours a semester, 12 hours a semester, then having to do football practice and things like that, and then going to do homework. And so it teaches you hard work, determination, perseverance, being persistent at something when it doesn't work. There's just so many life lessons that I've learned through, having a great education at TCU, being a part of the football program that are still with me to this day.
You were in the spotlight for a while, as the TCU quarterback. Was that hard to walk away from when you become just a regular, average citizen at the bank?
Right. Yes, it is. It's an adjustment.
Yeah.
It's adjustment that, you're so used to playing football. You're so used to being in the spotlight, and people know your name, and people know this and that. And
you know what everyone knew? Everyone knew about your thumb.
That's true.
Everyone knew about Patrick's thumb because you'd injured your thumb, right? It was a ligament in your hand, right?
Correct.
And everyone knew about it because it affected your ability to run the option some, right?
Right.
And so I remember that kind of being the topic of conversation for everyone. You'd go out to lunch or something, and they'd say, "How's Patrick's hand?
Right.
How's his thumb doing?"
Right.
Everyone wanted to know.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So I tore a ligament in my thumb in the Northwestern game.
Yep.
I believe it was the second game of the year, my senior year, and so I had to I was either going to apply for a red shirt that year, possibly if I could, or get over it and continue playing. And so I was able to switch, working with the coaching staff, I couldn't grab the ball.
Right.
So you tear a ligament, you can't hold anything. And so I was able to, if I'm going to the left side, to pitch with my right hand.
Right.
And so made that adjustment, and it ended up working out. And
you just hoped everyone who saw that on film knew the backstory, that you actually could pitch it with your left. You just couldn't hold it. Yeah. I know not to do it this way, but I got to do it this way. I get that. But that was the big story. I remember that. Everybody knew Patrick's thumb.
Yes, that is true.
Tell us what you're up to now.
I am, enjoying life. I am in banking. Work for Texas Bank and Trust as a senior VP in commercial lending. So do a lot of commercial real estate finance and a lot of commercial real estate here in the DFW area. It's a great market to be in for real estate. Yeah. And in my spare time, love golfing, love watching sports, staying involved with TCU.
Oh, I see you often. You come back often, don't you?
Come back often and support them.
Yeah.
Win or lose, I'm here supporting. I have season tickets.
Yep.
And love being a part.
What do you think of the vibe around the program right now with Coach Dykes?
I think the vibe has been nothing but positive.
Yeah.
Everything that I've heard or read with Coach Dykes and his coaching staff has been great.
Yep.
Practices I've heard have been really good. The new offense, defense has been really positive, and I'm looking forward to.
All right, I can't let you leave without asking you. You've seen Max Duggan. You've seen Chandler Morris. What do you think of those two guys?
I think both of them are very competitive. Mm-hmm. Max I've seen over the last couple of years, and he has a fire inside of him, and he's super competitive, and he wants to win, and I like that in a guy. Chandler, same way. Great talent. I think it's going to be a great battle. Both of those guys, and I think it's they're going to feed off of the competitive nature of each of them.
Yeah.
Which it should be that way, and to push each other.
Yeah. Let's close with this. Other than the Sun Bowl, what's your fondest memory of TCU in your time in Fort Worth?
Fondest memory is probably, the bowl games are great. Remember the Mobile, Alabama Bowl?
Yeah.
That was a great memory because that was my last game. And we won. We beat East Carolina, and we beat another NFL quarterback, and David Garrard. First it was Carson Palmer. Defense in that Sun Bowl shut him down, and then David Garrard, beating him. So that's something that I look back on and very proud of.
You ought to be proud of your great career here at TCU, and we're proud of the man that you've become since then. So
thank you.
Honored that you would come by and visit with us.
Thank you. My
Good
pleasure.
to see you, Patrick.
Thank you, Brian.
All right, Patrick Batteaux joining us here on Frogs Today. A lot more still to come after we do this.
Criminals, killers. These stories of crime and punishment in the 21st century Western society, as told through the lens of retired Fort Worth Vice Cop Jake White and investigative journalist John Henry.
Catch a new episode every Saturday anywhere you get your podcast or at signal51chronicles.com. Signal 51 Chronicles is a Roxo Media House production. What do you call a Fort Worth-centric podcast featuring guests of international, national, and local fame? Fortitude FW. Why catch the latest episode? Because every guest has a story to tell. Join hosts J.W. Wilson and Britton Payne every Friday for the latest stories from noted Fort Worthians in business, sports, lifestyle, entertainment, law enforcement, politics, and, well, you get the idea. Fortitude FW, where the stories never die. Listen anywhere you get your podcast or at fortitudefw.com. Fortitude FW is a Roxo Media House production.
Frog fans, TCU Baseball introduces the Frog Flex Pack. This new edition this season gives fans the flexibility and power to decide what games they want to attend. The TCU Baseball Frog Flex Pack gives fans 10 vouchers to redeem for GA tickets at any home game this season for a low price of just $80. That's right, $80. Be sure to purchase your very own Frog Flex Pack today. Call 817-257-3764 or visit gofrogs.com.
FrogsToday.com is the ultimate TCU sports fan community. Members enjoy exclusive content from inside the locker room, feature presentations, access to athletes, coaches, and alumni that are making headlines, and a live show featuring Brian Estridge. Join us and an interactive sports community full of Horned Frog fans now at FrogsToday.com. Frogs Today is a Roxo Media House production.
Frog Today rolls on here from the Flying T Club studios, and our next guest is our headliner here today. And he's been tasked with recharging this TCU offense under the direction of head coach Sonny Dykes. If you would please welcome the offensive coordinator, Garrett Riley. Garrett, come on out, my man. Good to see you.
Hey, good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for hopping on here with us, man. And I said charge was sort of recharging this offense. You know, when you walked in here and you had a chance to see what TCU had done on film, you had a chance to meet these players. This isn't a total rebuild offensively, is it?
No, not at all. You know, I mean, obviously there's a lot of guys that have played a lot of games here, you know, and a nice mixture of talent, we feel like. You know, and kind of what I've told a lot of people just once we've come over here and taken this job is it's not a rebuild. I just kind of feel like we just need to get rebooted a little bit, you know, and just kind of reset. And, you know, naturally with the transition, that's going to happen. And we really feel like we have a lot of capable players. And really, it's up to this point, we've had 13 spring practices now. You know, I just feel like we've got a well-rounded talent pool, you know, and I mean, that's something that we're excited to work with as coaches. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I'll tell you that. I'm excited.
When I look at the quarterback room, I mean, you got Max, you got Chandler, you got some young guys that can play. It feels like, okay, you're okay there. Then I look at that wide receiving core, and I'm like, well, you're okay there because you got guys that can play the slot. You got big guys that can go get it. Running back maybe a little bit thin, but the guys who are there are really talented. And an offensive line that Coach Dykes has been praising here of late. Said, hey, we got 7 or 8 guys. I mean, that feels like a package, doesn't it?
Yeah, like I said, you know, I mean, you feel like at the skill position that we have some versatility, you know, and kind of to echo Coach Dykes' sentiments, I mean, the offensive line, I think, could really be a strength of our team. You got several core guys that have played a lot of football together, you know, not just on their own individually, but just the continuity up there I like. You know, and Coach Ricker's done a great job thus far, just develop them the way that we need them to be developed in our offense and our scheme. You know, and then we've had some guys there up front that, you know, have been in the program for a year or two. They haven't necessarily played a whole lot yet, but it's kind of their time, you know, and some of those guys are very, very talented. It's just going to be a matter of them getting their feet wet and really getting in the fire a little bit.
There's an old coach phrase that I've heard for years, and it feels like maybe one that you follow, and that is, hey, keep the main thing, and that is be really good at what you're good at. And it feels like that's what you want to be with this offense.
Yeah, I mean, that's just our philosophy. I mean, if you asked us what's the nuts and bolts of our offensive philosophy, it's that.
Yeah.
And, you know, we just believe in it. And obviously you got to have some pieces to feel like you can do that. And that's what we've really tried to stress to our guys is for us, it's be who we are. I don't care if the defense knows exactly what we're doing. Mm-hmm. Who cares? I want us to just out-execute them more than they can stop us. And so that's what we do. And, you know, I think the positive of that is you're going to create an identity for yourself offensively and really probably as a team is we all know how it is. You get in those big games and big moments and you're going to go back to what you rely on and you're going to rely on your identity. And so that's just what we're trying to stress right now and really build that foundation for us here at TCU.
It feels like also, Garrett, that there's some versatility to this offense. That, yeah, you're going to do what you can do, and you're going to see a similar look, but there might be some different twists off of it that can accommodate whatever a defense shows you.
No, absolutely. You know, we've got a group of tight ends that I think can really help us and do a lot of things for us, you know, offensively and get us into some different personnel groupings. And you know, again, I mean, what we have to do as an offense is we have to attack. I mean, every single play, everything that we do needs to attack the defense, and it doesn't need to make it easy on them. And with what you're seeing right now, especially in our league in the Big 12, there's a lot of variations of what people are doing schematically, and so you need to do some things to really stress those guys. And we feel like, you know, we're going to have a chance to have some of that versatility to do that.
Yeah, here's the other thing I notice about you, and if folks do a little homework on your background, they're going to realize this is why you think about where you've been over time, East Carolina, Appalachian State, some time at Kansas, obviously, and with Coach Dykes. Don't think that Garrett Riley doesn't want to run the football, because you do. I mean, you grew up around coaches that, yeah, we're going to throw it around the yard a little bit, and we're going to stretch you, but you want to run the football, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, you just have to.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you look at just the recent history of people that have won championships in their conference and the national championship. You got to be really, really good at running the football, you know, and that's got to be a big thread of what you do. And so we believe in it. We think there's a lot of things that come off of that. You know, it's our way and kind of a quote-unquote air raid style offense of having our identity that we're going to be physical, you know, and our guys out wide are going to block, our tight ends are going to block, running backs at times are going to be split out and have to block, you know, on screen games. So that's kind of who we are, and yeah, we certainly feel like we're going to have to run the ball, you know, in order to be really, really successful when it matters late in the season.
And some of that is the influence. We talked about where you were. You were with Eli Drinkwitz, who's now at Missouri, who's got the Auburn tie, right, which can be a physical offense. Obviously, your brother at East Carolina with you. We know what his team can be physical as well. And Ruffin McNeil wasn't going to let you not be physical, right? and Coach Dykes, who you think about. Okay, everybody talks about Coach Dykes as a passing game guy, but you look at his teams over the years; they ran the football, didn't they?
Yeah, no, and again, I mean, just like you said, I've been lucky and my upbringing and the coaching profession of the people that I've been around that have influenced me, that have been all really, really good coaches. And, yeah, I mean, probably the biggest impact on me from that standpoint was probably my short stint there at Appalachian State. You know, those guys know how to run the football. And then just, you know, for me in my career at that time, I was going with a coach that was really completely opposite of what I knew from the schematics. And so that was just great for me. Really opened my eyes to a lot of different things. And, you know, since my time of being linked up with Coach Dykes has been a big piece and a big influence of what we're continuing to do offensively.
How's your family? They've adjusted to Fort Worth?
Adjusted to Fort Worth. We're good. We've already broke the seal on Joe T. Garcia's a couple times.
Good for you.
Yeah, kids are involved, coming up to practice all the time. So it's been great. That part's been really nice.
If Fort Worth is a special place, do you get that sense already?
Yeah, I mean, it's just so cool. You know, number one, there's just a lot of things to do. I mean, anything you want to find, you're probably going to find in Fort Worth. And it's just cool, man, to really drive around neighborhoods and see TCU flags outside people's homes.
Yeah.
And, you know, and because of that, I mean, TCU's the big show in town. And that's very special to get back to.
What'd your brother say when you were coming to Fort Worth?
Yeah, I mean, he was excited. I mean, he knows. I mean, we both grew up in Texas. We know about this place and how special it is. And so, you know, we've just spent a lot of time growing up knowing the rich tradition and history here, and so he was obviously excited for me, and you know, and obviously our deal kind of happened about the same time,
right.
So I was also excited for him.
Yeah, did you share boxes? Moving boxes? You could have done that.
Nah, I mean,
you should have called him up and said, "Hey, can I have your old boxes?"
Well, I should have just put him to work to actually move us. You know, make him get his hands dirty a little bit.
I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Who's the better barbecuer?
Yeah.
Who's better on the smoker?
You know, he's gotten enough flack that I really haven't had to give him any.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably a pretty safe bet. I could probably say me.
You think you could take him away? Hey, what are you into outside of football? I know football is all consuming for you, but at 24/7. But is there something that you're into outside of football?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, you know, grew up in a small West Texas town, so I'm used to hunting and. You know, went to Lake LBJ really all throughout my childhood and skied and did the whole lake thing. Love movies.
Yeah.
I've gotten in really since COVID. I've actually gotten into barbecuing and smoking different things and just kind of trying that out. So, yeah, a lot of other interests outside of football for sure.
I tell you what, we are glad that you're in Fort Worth. Looking forward to it. Sonny Dykes on Tuesday, Coach Dykes on Tuesday, said post-practice, the starting quarterback for the Horned Frogs is on campus.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about that room.
Yeah.
You know, obviously Max has played a lot of football here. Has played in a lot of big moments. Has made a lot of plays here. I think he just has a great competitive edge to him. I mean, everybody knows that's kind of the way he plays. You know, and Chandler's obviously done a nice job. I think he's had a good spring so far, and what he brings to the table. You know, and then we have Sam Jackson, who's done some really good things. Young guy, he's electric, he's dynamic. He's just still young, you know, but he's grown up here in 13 practices and brought Josh Hoover on as well. You know, a high school kid that's held his own. I mean, he looks like he belongs, and that's not hard to do when you come early as a quarterback and it's your first time on campus.
I can imagine that Garrett at night is working on some Sam Jackson packages. I mean, he's a guy that's got to be on the field sometime.
I'll tell you what, the defense doesn't like it when he's out
I
there,
bet not.
You know, practicing against them right now. So yeah, he's done a nice job. It's been a nice foundation for him, I think, just getting adjusted to to what we're doing,
Yeah.
you know, offensively right now. But he certainly brings an element to the table. Yep.
I know how crazy your schedule is. I want to thank you for coming in today and visiting with us. And we look forward to talking in the future. Look forward to exciting things and get through this spring game, get you settled into Fort Worth even more, man.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
All right,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you. Good to see you,
thanks,
brother.
Brian.
All right, we got more to come here on Frogs Today, including our expert roundtable. That's right, I said expert. Yes, Jeff Wilson's going to join us next when Frogs Today continues here in a moment.
Flow to the water of tomorrow. Richard's Rainwater. Richard's Rainwater is 100% rain, refreshing, renewable, and the only ingredient we use in our water. Why rain? Because everyone deserves access to clean water, and rain is a 100% renewable resource available everywhere. Drink the rain. Save the planet. Shop now at richardsrainwater.com.
Frog fans, it's time for Friday Night Lights at the Carter. TCU football is set to host their spring scrimmage Friday, April 22nd. So bring out the entire family to enjoy this free event. Take advantage of happy hour specials at the concession stand all evening. And after the scrimmage, enjoy a fireworks show, followed by team autographs on the field. Gates open at 6. The scrimmage kicks off at 7. Can't make it to Amon G. Carter Stadium? No worries. You can also tune into ESPN Plus for a full telecast of the event. For more information, check out gofrogs.com.
On her new video podcast show, Curb Appeal, TV personality Kirby Schnorr talks about everything that appeals to her most with her best friend and City Boots owner and founder, Lizzie Bentley. Joined by their friends and special guests, they cover fashion, food, music, art, and Western culture while giving you a behind-the-scenes look at their lives, favorite places, and things to do in Fort Worth. Curb Appeal drops new episodes weekly at curbappealshow.com or anywhere you get your podcasts. Curb Appeal is a Roxo Media House production.
Frogs Today continues now from the Flying T Club studios. We usually have a roundtable of experts at this point. Today it's a roundtable of expert. His name's Jeff Wilson, who's by. We got a lot we got to get into. Expert, the roundtable of expert, and not even a roundtable at that. So, all right, let's talk football.
All right.
You were at practice on Tuesday when Sonny Dykes made the announcement that the quarterback for the Horned Frogs is on this campus. Tell me what that means.
Well, basically what it means is they are probably not going to go into the transfer portal to try to find a quarterback for the fall. And, you know, I think that had been speculated pretty heavily ever since he took the job, really. You know, was the quarterback on campus? And you know, there'd been maybe some talk of him bringing over one of the SMU quarterbacks, Preston Stone or Tanner Mordecai, whoever didn't make the team. And, you know, it's probably a good thing, though, I think. You know, continuity is so big. I'm a big believer in continuity in any sport. You have guys who, yes, are learning a new system, but guys who receivers know, linemen know, running backs know to expect from them. And the quarterbacks have picked up the offense, and I think that's the big thing. You know, this is a new system. I'm sure that Garrett Riley and Sonny have preferred guys. You know, guys that they want who know the system so they can hit the ground running. But Max and Chandler appear to have really picked up and aren't skipping much of a beat.
Yeah, I was going to ask. We had Garrett on earlier. Is this more of a, hey, there's nothing out there, or did this feel like a ringing endorsement of the two guys who were already on campus?
I think it felt more like an endorsement.
Yeah.
If you kind of listen to the way Sonny talked, the videos on our YouTube page, it was like, hey, this is an encouraging thing. We weren't sure, and these guys have done X, Y, and Z to make us sure. Now, he did say that you never know what's going to happen with the portal. Somebody could fall into their laps, and they'd have to take a look at it. But you know, spring practices, when they end, there's going to be quarterbacks all over the country who are upset with their situation or maybe reading some writing on the wall entering fall practices. But unless it's a significant upgrade, it's not going to happen. At least that's what the head man himself said.
I don't get the sense either, though, that just because he says a quarterback is here on campus, that they're not going to be active in the portal. I mean, there are other positions where they're going to try to reinforce things, right?
Oh, yeah, I think so. And, you know, you can never have enough linemen.
Right.
And he has said that.
Yep.
I think he feels the same way about linebackers and cornerbacks. And then you saw what happened with TCU last year at running back, and they're already kind of thin there. So there's definitely going to be players who are there who are going to catch TCU's eye. I don't think there's any way around it. And recruiting now is 365 days a year. You know, I mean, this portal has really changed everything. You're not just relying on one big big day for preps. You can get immediate help. It's free agency, and if some free agents are out there, I think the Horned Frogs are going to look.
Here's the one thing that stands out to me as well is a lot has been made about the mood, the vibe of practices, and the fact that they were open. It seemed to me, though, that they got a lot accomplished, because when you watch, especially the back end of these practices here in the spring, it was as if everyone knew what to do. And sometimes when you're changing systems and they don't play as fast because of that, do you get that sense as well, or is that?
Yeah, and with this first time any kind of practice of this staff, it's kind of been a dress rehearsal too.
Right.
They're trying to get things in line for fall practices. I think the spring game, you're going to see a lot of plays coming down from the booths.
Yep.
And things working out on the sideline and trying to teach players how to do that. But, and I think it goes back to the off season in the weight room, getting diet figured out, learning the playbook, and then knowing what's expected of them. And, they've been practicing at 6:45 in the morning.
Right.
And I know you're up early at 6:45, and I have kids, and I'm usually up by then. But not a lot of college kids are up at 6:45, and they've had to perform right off the gate. It's not like they get a 15-minute. It's not like a breakfast mulligan, when you have an early tea time. They gotta get out there and get busy. And so I think that's been encouraging. And Dyke said Tuesday that this last week practices can kind of drag, and you sometimes have to kick players in the butt, but that hasn't been the case this week.
And in the Friday night spring practice, essentially a dress rehearsal, as you mentioned, of the spring game. I mean, running out of the tunnel, everything, from start to finish, you get a feel for that. I'm going to switch gears on you for a couple of things. Baseball, big series win last week over Texas Tech. Obviously, Oklahoma State coming up this weekend. Do you get the sense that Kirk Saarloos' team has kind of moved on from that little bit of a drought that they were in prior to the Texas Tech series?
Sure, and I've seen a lot of baseball here in the last 15 years covering the Rangers, and teams go through funks. It happens every year. I mean, just the best of the best even will have a 3 or 4 game losing streak or a 5 game losing streak. I mean, the Atlanta Braves last year won the World Series, but they lost 73 games, and at one point in the second half were under 500.
Wow.
So, teams click at different times, and it looked like in that Tech series, all 3 facets kind of came together. There was good starting pitching, bullpen was good, and then the offense did what it had to do, and especially in 2 of the games, scored 7 and 11 runs. So if that happens, if they click, they can beat anybody. Oklahoma State's a tough test. They got at Florida State after that. Obviously not a conference series, but still, this is tough competition, and it'll get TCU ready for tournament time. And you know how TCU's fared in tournaments the last however many years. They really seem to peak at the right time, but they needed something, and to sweep Texas Tech, who was 4th in the country coming into the weekend, that's a big deal.
Yeah. All right. I want to stay with baseball. Jake Arrieta earlier in the week announces his retirement. You've been tracking his career in the bigs. Was it time?
Probably, yeah. And look, I was Jake's. I was the TCU beat writer for the Star Telegram in 2005 and 6. His first couple seasons at TCU, and look, that's a lot of mileage.
Yeah.
It's a lot of innings. This is 17 years after that.
Wow.
He threw a lot in college, threw a lot in the minors. When he finally found his footing with the Cubs, it was hard to find a better pitcher in baseball, honestly.
Right.
He was throwing no hitters. He won the Cy Young Award, obviously, and he was tough, and he pitched through little ailments, but you could see his fastball velocity declining. The stuff declined a little bit. Last season wasn't a very good one for him, with bouncing from the Phillies to the Padres. And look, there's just a time, and maybe if this lockout doesn't happen and it's a different offseason, maybe there's more interest. But the way everything unfolded for players who couldn't talk deals during the lockout, they only had a small window to sign, and maybe at that point he either didn't get the offer or saw the writing on the wall, or enjoyed spending time with his kids and not being in Arizona for 6 weeks. But it's a natural progression, and boy, what a career he had, though.
And I tell you, think about the retirement when it comes as it does right now. It does set him up for eligibility for the TCU Hall of Fame this year. I wouldn't be shocked if he's not part of that ballot.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. All right, a couple of other housekeeping things we got to get to. First is your Rangers podcast.
Yes.
Folks can find that out there, and your website. Just go to rangerstoday.com.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
All that info's there. And I know you've had some big-time guests already.
Yeah, we had
part
John
of it.
Daniels
Yeah.
for the opener, and before this started in the studio, we've had all kinds of minor leaguers. We've had Jack Leiter, we've had Chris Young, Chris Woodward, lots of executives, good stuff. And this week we had Chase Lee, the Double-A pitcher. They call him the Viper.
The Viper.
He's got a chance to make his debut this year, and he was kind enough to drive from Frisco to the studio on a game day.
How about that?
Yeah, good kid.
Yeah, good. All right, so you can check that out at rangerstoday.com. We want you to go to frogstoday.com. Hop in that Lizard Lounge. Remember that tab on the top right. You can log in there. Hey, find yourself an exclusive video, 5 questions with J.J. Henry, the PGA Tour golfer. We had a chance to sit down with him after the Masters. You're going to want to check that out. Coming up next week here on Frogs Today, Mike Miles. He's back.
I've heard of him.
Yes, Mike Miles, the Frog point guard, will join us next week. We don't normally do this. Elle, come here. I want you guys to meet Elle. Come here, Elle. Keep smiling. Here comes Elle Hoover. Elle is our producer, and I want to and make sure she's in focus here, Jay. That's gonna be important for her. One of the things that we wanted to remind you of is if you're out and about at night from 7 until midnight, you need to check out Elle Hoover, 95.9 The Ranch. Am I right?
Yeah.
She is awesome. All right? Check it out, 95.9 The Ranch. You'll hear Elle on there. All right? She makes this thing tick as well. Until we see you next week for another edition of Frogs Today, invite you to be at frogstoday.com. For Jeff and Elle and everybody else, I'm Brian Estridge. Have yourself a great week.
Are you supposed to be here? Try pulling it harder.
Let me in.
Harder. Give me 1 second. Brian.
Can you let me in? What's the door code?
5. Did that work? No? Try 21.
Come on.
Brian. Someone's here to see ya.
Frogs Today is brought to you by the Flying Tea Club, supporting TCU student athletes, and by Richard's Rainwater. Say hello to the water of tomorrow. Frogs Today is a production of Roxo Media House.